Hey everybody, Asher here. Let's get with the channel update revisited. Last time I did a channel update, I did put some questions on you all in terms of the kind of stuff you were looking for, both in my channel and in terms of Let's Play or whatever channels in general. So I want to go over that a little bit first, and then we are going to talk a little bit about the future or the things that are coming up for this channel here, Asher Games, formerly known, and I know some of you still wish was known as Way to Fail Self, but hey, it's all here nor there or everywhere. Let's go ahead and get started first with numbers. You all do like numbers, and I just want to show, because I like giving peeks of analytics from time to time here. I do have a few shots to show you now. Now, I almost said Amazon. YouTube has changed the way they like to present their analytics. They like to start by showing off watch time and average view duration, which I find those to be not so great statistics, if only because if you put videos of really varied times out there, then it really skews results. So I tend to pay more attention still to the subscriber count and the views. So let's start with the subscriber count, because I know that's when I did a previous update on this, it was in the thrust of the Kerbal Space Program just recent release. The channel was growing quite rapidly, and you can see now that I have only just recently creeped back up to around 50 subscribers month over month. And you can see the numbers kind of up all over the place. Nothing very high, nothing very low. And if you do a comparison here with subscribers lost per day, you can see that I'm shedding subscribers just slightly slower than I'm gaining them. Biggest reason, and I have a few ideas just based on this, is because of the content that I'm putting up on the channel, which some people come here for some content, and what you find on YouTube a lot of times is people end up specializing in one or two games, and then when you look for a channel, you look for something on that game, and there's been a number of viewers, I'm sure. It's too bad they don't have exit surveys for why you unsubscribe, and that defeat the point of just having a little button. I'm sure if there were exit surveys, there would be plenty of people that just say, I unsubscribed because I don't see the content here that I want to see anymore. So that's what it boils down to. Most of the unsubscribes are just straight up from the channel, not from specific videos themselves. Interestingly enough, the videos that tend to bring in subscribers more are actually a lot of Kerbal Space Program series and some of the Hearthstone as well. I'll talk about why that's interesting here in just a little bit. The other analytics that I want to point out, and I'm going to have to, you won't be able to see it, but I'm going to be doing some clickety-clacketing here. Possibly, maybe, let me go back to this and I'll figure it out in a second, is the view count, which has kind of steadied itself back down to prior levels, and I'm not really sure of a great way to put it other than just I'm not too surprised. It's higher than it used to be. When I did do view numbers previously, once again, that was in the spike, and I knew it was a spike for a Kerbal Space Program, and I haven't quite been able to latch on to similar waves. So while I did have dreams of kind of the beginning and the middle of the year being up above 4,000 subscribers at this point, it's very clear to me why that hasn't happened. And part of it, once again, is just about content. So that's kind of where we're at, and that's one reason that I did have kind of a content-driven questionnaire beforehand. But if you want to look at the things that got the most views in the past month, you'll see that what is getting the most views are not videos that I released recently. Most views are pretty much going to be some of my Hearthstone videos, some of the Kerbal Space Program videos, very little of a lot of other stuff. So those are interesting kind of slices and dynamics. And I bring that up because I did ask two questions, and because Straw Poll doesn't really post its results in a way that looks very good trying to fit in a video, I'm going to kind of cut and splice this as best I can. First, I did ask two survey questions, and there wasn't really a control response or anything, and I do understand that these are self-reported answers. This is not something from everyone who watches the channel. This is from people who care enough to view and interact. My hypothesis going in was that the people who tend to comment, like my videos, are going to be the people that are going to be more inclined to answer these questions. So some of my video series get a lot of interaction, as you've probably seen. Kerbal Space Program gets a lot of interaction. Faster Than Light gets a lot of interaction. A few other videos get some interaction, while other ones, especially the Blizzard games, Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm, get practically no interaction for any video I put in. So with those in mind, let me just go ahead and go over the results here. Here is result the first. Question, which game videos do you watch from Asher Games? Choose all that apply. Now, the reason that I asked it this way is because I don't want to have someone say, well, this is what I like the most. It's just an impression of what I've posted within whatever time frame I specified. I think I went back to the beginning of the calendar year. What do you actually click and watch? And the results were, I guess, the top of the pie I figured would be Faster Than Light, because that's the game that I've covered for the longest, actually pretty much since I switched over this channel to being a Let's Play channel instead of being a repository for sports games clips that I'd use in Operation Sports Forums. But yeah, Faster Than Light, number one, no surprise on that. What really surprised me was number two, which was XCOM. XCOM was a game that I had a viewer's choice. You all voted for it pretty convincingly. I started to do the series, and then real life intervened. I got frustrated with some of the mechanics, and I kind of put it, well, not kind of put it down. I did put it down. But that's kind of just reminded me here. It's like, hey, once again, you all like this. You all voted on it. And I just need to kind of dust off and get back into it. Because XCOM, the series that I was doing at the time was XCOM The Long War. I know some people are very excited about XCOM 2, which I believe has been pushed back to 2016 now. Which I guess that's good, because that means I get to polish it more. But the other results here, I guess, so XCOM, something that, in terms of looking for viewers, what kind of content are you interested in? That was a pleasant surprise, albeit a surprise. RimWorld was higher than expected, if only because I figure, once again, it does usually get some comments from people. Darkest Dungeon, a good response as well. Kerbal Space Program and Hearthstone are at 5 and 6, which is pretty interesting to me, if only because those are the videos that I get a lot of viewership from. Now, Kerbal Space Program, I figure would have been closer to number 2 if I'd been releasing Kerbal Space Program videos recently. Why haven't I been doing Kerbal Space Program videos recently? There are two reasons. One is because since I updated to Windows 10, I've been getting a lot of memory errors with the mods that I've been running for Kerbal Space Program. It's really odd how upgrading operating systems works in mysterious ways. And what it boils down to is that it kind of pushed me aside a little bit from doing that. The second part is Kerbal Space Program, compared to a lot of other games where, if you've seen, I do a lot of straight through recording with maybe some cuts here or there. Kerbal Space Program requires substantially more work to edit, to get in time, and especially since I've switched over to the system of using Premiere Pro and Handbrake to make the videos 1080 and pretty for you all, it takes substantially more time to get the content out. So between that and between the actual breaking the game not looking nearly as good because of the lack of mods, just a bit of an issue. Now, I will tell you that Kerbal Space Program is one of those things that's on my list of get back to it once I clear out some other games that are kind of on my queue. And I know some people will be like, well, why don't you just chop Hearthstone? There's one or two reasons for it. One is that it does attract some people to the channel. It is good for channel discovery. Once upon a time, I covered Scrolls back when it was relevant. There's still some viewership, I think, from people who watch Scrolls. Hearthstone, however, is one of those games that's really interesting because it is very oversaturated in terms of what's on YouTube, and it's very interesting that I can even get an audience at all when you compare it to something like at the very bottom of the list, which is Heroes of the Storm, which is the only other game that's on this list that I've posted videos of fairly recently. Convoy's fun, and Crypt of the Necrodancer's fun. Starbound, I've kind of exhausted my interest of it for the time being. Invisible Ink, I do want to revisit at some point. Ark and Path of Exile, I probably won't. But Heroes of the Storm is a game that I really tried to make happen. I'm not that great at it. I've come to the conclusion that I'm not that great at it. But the same issue that you run into with Hearthstone versus Heroes of the Storm is that Blizzard games are really kind of, there's already people there, kind of faces on YouTube or whatever, who kind of have that, and people will follow them all around. And that's kind of where the traffic goes. Plus, Heroes of the Storm, I don't think I'm really good enough to stand out. I'm not interesting enough to stand out. Now in Hearthstone is one of those games that I do feel like I am more skilled at. I do have enough competency and enough cards to talk about it. Am I a legend level player? No. I'll tell you that, at least in my estimation, the reason that I'm not a legend player is because I do not have the time to actually put in the climb to legend. I have not had the time to do that since pretty much the birth of my second child, which is fine. I mean, parenthood's very important. But if I do ever have an opportunity to, say, try and climb to legend, that would pretty much mean me dedicating all of my recording time to trying to do that, and I don't know if that's what you all want. So Hearthstone's something that I am interested in sticking with, although I'm always looking at new and interesting ways to do that. Heroes of the Storm, however, I do have some recordings that I did make post the placement flop of getting placed to rank 40. It's gone. I still do play the game. I enjoy the game, and that's one of the things that it boils down to, is that there are things that I enjoy playing that I don't necessarily have an opportunity to like put up here, record, or anything, because you'd be really surprised if you look at some of the numbers. I kind of have joked about this before. I tried putting up a video for Football Manager 2015. Bloop, immediately lost like 20 subs that day, which is a lot for a smaller channel like me. It's definitely something that's noticeable and an impression. I've really enjoyed, despite its bugginess, and I don't play it online so I don't have to deal with the hackers, I've really enjoyed NBA 2K16 so far. You won't see a video from me. Why? A, because once again, I'm not that great compared to a lot of the, once again, faces, people who've kind of saturated that field. And more importantly, because I am not really a sports channel at all, even though it's something I'm very knowledgeable about, something I talk about. It's not really the audience that I've built, and certainly from the straw poll here, not the kind of stuff that y'all are interested in. I've built my channel previously as a kind of a strategy thinking person's channel with content, and that's, trust me, basketball is something we have to think on the fly, but I think it's something that would be very negatively received by the viewer base. But we'll approach that in just a minute. Let's go to the other straw poll real quick, because I think it's fairly interesting as well. The question that I posed, and it wasn't just specific to my channel, but what kind of content do you enjoy from great gaming channels? Choose all that it's applied. Now, I was not terribly surprised that Let's Play was #1, because this is a question being asked by a Let's Play channel, and Let's Play channels are very omnipresent on YouTube, especially when it comes to things like, well, what are your biggest Let's Play games out there? You have Minecraft, you have all the horror games, you have CSGO, Dota 2, well, those aren't so much Let's Play, it's just like competitive multiplayer, but kind of that's what it boils down to. You have your competitive multiplayer games, and you have your kind of Let's Play, let's watch people do things. And so while that the content is there, the adage that I've always gone into and understand and have heard from other people who are far more successful on YouTube than I am, is that people don't really watch, or they'll watch for the game, but they'll stick around for the person. And this is where I brought in some of the kind of other factors here. Now, #2 is interesting. This is kind of like the most surprising result and most interesting result from this, which is humor. And when I say humor, that doesn't mean the 4 humors that go through the blood or your body and let's leach them out. But it was kind of refreshing and kind of distressing in a way that humor was the #2 result for things that you all enjoy from a gaming channel. Especially because my humor, being that my age is a lot older than most people that view my channel, which once again I can see that from analytics. Thanks Google for information raping everybody. My humor, A, doesn't really necessarily match up with what's funny out there, as I'm doing air quotes when I don't have a webcam, but that's the idea. Also, I've come from really the perspective that you don't force humor. You come out and say something and it's funny or it's not, but you roll with it. And let's be honest here, I know myself as a person. I'm one of those people that's naturally a little more awkward. If I say something that's funny, I can roll with it, but it's nothing where I'm going to sit there and try and impress and go out of the way. And I know for some people, that's a reason they come to this channel. For other people, that's kind of like, well, if you're just playing a game, I can watch X, Y, or Z play a game. Give me something more. So the something more that has been pretty successful for me in the past are things like guides, things like reviews, things like commentary on the game. I can break stuff down. I can do pretty well with that. Live streaming is another, let me put this way with live streaming. It's really frustrating because on the one hand, I enjoy live streaming. I enjoy the live interaction, anything. Actually, as I've said before on my channel multiple times, one of the reasons that I like Let's Playing is because I, don't have any friends locally at all who play games. Not just like in general, or like they do play games, but not really the kind of stuff that I'm interested in, not the kind of stuff that I play. So this is really one of my few avenues for sharing gameplay with other people. And live streaming is great for that. Unfortunately, my internet connection is shit. So I can kind of get away with it for a slow-moving game like Hearthstone or something. But once you get to like Path of Exile, oh my god, the bitrate's just too low, the quality's too low. It's just not great. And I've tried some things other than XSplit, and they kill my i3. It's not fantastical. I was a little pleased to see that drama and top 10 list were the lowest ones on there. Those are the kind of posts. Unfortunately, my top viewed videos some of my top viewed videos on this channel are essentially drama shit posts. And that's just the reality of it, is that people will click, but people won't necessarily stick around. You won't really get the interaction. I think the number one is still an RDU video from after DreamHack from like a year plus ago. And then SimCity, the re-release, being stupid, which is, oh my god, that was so long ago. And the main reason that one got a lot of clicks was it got direct linked from Kotaku. Although I will give myself credit for predicting Goat Simulator before it would have ever happened, or maybe it was already in development. So what do I take from this? Because I'm not necessarily going to be someone that's like, haha, funny, ha 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 ha. What I do take from this, at least, is that you all at least like things that's both watch someone play and then they make you laugh, or at least can share in the enjoyment a little bit in some way, shape, or form. So one of the things that I want to do to try and direct my content going forward is to just try and play things that on here that allow for a few more of those shared experiences. I know some people have been a little upset in the past where it's like, oh, you're negative, you're down on yourself, don't be sad, or whatever, or you're a bleeping idiot. Yeah, so I think positivity is something that I've been able to hang my hat on before. I mean, if we look back at the games that are most looked at here, Faster Than Light's a game that I can exude a lot of positivity. RimWorld's a game that I've at least had fun with. Darkest Dungeon is a game that I've had fun with. Kerbal Space Program is one that gives me an opportunity to teach, and I've always really enjoyed teaching, despite the fact that I used to be a high school teacher and I'm not anymore. Once again, aging myself here. Some of you can be weirded out. Wait until I get a webcam. You'll be like, oh my god, he has gray hair. Yeah, spoiler alert. But just opportunities to have those kind of experiences where it's not just me sitting here staring at the screen trying to figure something out, which was kind of my struggle with XCOM with the Long War. So that's kind of driving the content going forward. But that brings it to the other point. If we look back at the analytics for a second, FTL is, in this response, is the most watched game, but it is one of the lowest performing series on my channel. It's interesting, and that's partially because of you're always trying to pull in new discovery from everything else. So what's the plan going forward? I mean, I've always been a channel that is going to put up multiple series. I'm a type B personality. I have a lot of irons in the fire all at once. And hell, we can even look at it from a real life scenario. I do this as a hobby. I write as a hobby. I take care of children as kind of a life responsibility. I run my own business, just in general, real life. And I guess that's one attitude that you got to remember for me being a grown person that's still trying to hang on to some enjoyment from games, is that I'm not doing this for money. Now, the trickle that I do get is nice and helpful, but I'm not sitting here. Another way to put it is that I've heard plenty of people say, okay, there's a time and place where you have to make the choice. The choice is, are you going to go full-time with YouTube, or are you going to go full-time with whatever the bleep else that you're doing? That's not really an option for me when I have mouths to feed and people to take care of at home. I am not in a position ever, unless there's like some 100,000 subs suddenly start falling in my lap. And even then, I don't think I'm ever going to be in a position where I say, go full-time, go full ham. So this is always going to be just kind of a hobby, and I appreciate those of you all who have stuck with it, and especially appreciate those of you all who are willing to sit through upwards of 20 minutes of me rambling on a channel update, because this is going on. I wasn't exactly sure how long this would take, but the point being is that I have ideas in my head. I know what I can do if I really wanted to grow things really fast. I could focus on a few key games, pump out a bunch of videos all at once, focus specifically on mods and recent releases within the game instead of just other stuff, put some guide series alongside it, and I could grow my channel exponentially. But it kind of takes away from what I like this place to be, which is, and on the one hand, a point of solace for me. Just a place where I can relax and just play and talk about shit instead of my really stressful day job. On the other hand, you have the factor that just, well, I had a train of thought, and it's just kind of going off the wayside, so I'm sure I'll remember it in just a second. But let's talk future. Let's talk future here. I think the numbers, and I am, even though I'm type B, I'm still someone that pays attention to numbers, but I've always been a bit more of an ethos person here. What you need to know from what I've gotten from you all and what we're doing going forward is this. FTL staying. XCOM I'm going back to. RimWorld, I actually have finished recording most all of it and processing most all of what I have so far, and I'm going to see where I can go, and definitely that's one of those things where once that run ends, I can revisit it when Alpha 13 gets released, whenever that is, which may be sooner. But considering the development cycle of the game, we may actually be out of Alpha of RimWorld pretty soon. Darkest Dungeon has a lot of life left, and I'm having fun, even though it's not generating a lot of views. I just enjoy it, and I really enjoy sending my viewers to the slaughter. Kerbal Space Program is something that I'm going to really try and dedicate myself to having one video a week at least. And that is a matter of, I've been toying around with how can I possibly make that happen with my schedule and everything. And I think the best way to do it is try and put forward a soft release schedule. Not so much I will release all this stuff every week, but just kind of a goal to have in my mind. So with that, and I mean, Hearthstone's still there too, because that's still some channel discovery, and let's be honest, that's something I generally am able to record on a lunch break. That's usually when I record Hearthstone videos. But how can I make something like Kerbal Space Program work? There's two ways to do it. I do have my long-running series, which started in 1.0.0. There's some stuff I want to finish and do with that. I've also gotten some requests to make more like guide videos or attempt some challenge videos, and I think that's something that I can work into, because that's interesting, kind of episodic, not necessarily having to go over a long arc of anything. So that is something I'm going to be returning to along with XCOM, which is nice. Now there are a few other games on the horizon that I'm really interested in, that I would really like to play and hold on to. XCOM 2 is one of them. Fallout 4, which as of the recording of this comes out next week, is another one of them. There's a few others out there, but point being is that I know for a fact that those, I'm not going to be like top dog ever for any Let's Play, anything like that. That's just the reality that you face here. So when I go into posting those things there, definitely watch. By all means, feel free to tag along if you're playing on your own, as probably a lot of people will with those games. Definitely tell me how you're doing, what you're doing with all that. But what it boils down to is that this is still a channel that I'm happy to share my experiences with you all, but it's more of a, I'm not going to sit there and chase views, chase subs just for it. If the channel can grow organically, that's awesome. And if it grows substantially, that's great. But I'm not going to sit and, I don't have the energy, and I'm not in a place in my life where I can just say, screw everything else. It's all YouTube all the time. And I hope that's something you all understand. I know some of you all are older viewers as well. Not a lot of you, but some of you are. And I hope that's something you understand as well. The other thing that I am actually looking forward to trying to do, and I know if we go to the other numbers real quick, people didn't really vote a lot for news, but I have a feeling that's because my channel doesn't do a lot of news reporting. One thing that I've been thinking about doing for a while that I think I'm going to try and go forward with, but I probably won't be able to until next week instead of this week, is trying to use some of my knowledge and expertise again in my own field, which is law, for those of you who don't know or haven't heard me quip about it in the past. The reason I don't play Prison Architect is because it's too close to work, but is to try and talk a little bit about issues that are going on in the legal world that affect gaming. And believe it or not, there's a lot of it out there, especially as gaming is a growing industry. Copyrights, trademarks, always big deals. Patents, not really something I'm qualified to deal with, but something I still have knowledge of and can talk about. Just a kind of, at least more of a vlog thing, just to discuss it a little bit. So that's kind of the look for content here. This is still primarily going to be a gaming focused channel, but going forward, I just want to be on the level with y'all and realistic with you all, that I do greatly appreciate the feedback you've given me. I don't think I can be the humorous a very charismatic person that I know some of you would love for me to be. In fact, it just reminds me of people in real life. Like, wow, you come off as a real asshole. Like, I know. Life got a lot easier when I realized I'm kind of a dick, which is me being very self-critical. But it's true. I remember when I used to be a small wieldling in the world, just trying to please everybody all the time. And once I realized that, you know what, all this angst and anger that I'm internalizing, I don't really need to internalize it. Things got better. So there's your life lesson from old Asher today, I guess. But yeah, that's the channel update. The Too Long Didn't Listen is pretty much, there's still gaming content. FTL still going to be a thing. Darkest Dungeon still going to be a thing. Heading back to Kerbal Space Program. Hearthstone is still a thing. Other things are getting chopped. And there is going to be some new content on there as well. The goal here is to try and help keep me sane, and I appreciate those of y'all who reach out to me through the comments and otherwise, just to say, hey, I like what you're doing. It does mean a lot. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. Longest channel update ever. I swear to God. But that's it. I will see you all in the days to come, and look out for some more information and possibly even some new other content. Thanks for watching. See you next time.